I'm glad you can join me on a quilting tale today. It's July and I'm already starting to think about Christmas. This is when there's a lot of arts and crafts festivals going on in different local communities, and I do a lot of my Christmas shopping during this time of year. So I wanted to show you a really simple, easy ornament that you can make that involves no sewing, and best of all right now, because you're probably experiencing a lot of heat, there's no ironing, no hot gluing, no glue at all involved. So it just takes a 3-inch styrofoam ball and some fabric scraps. You can do Christmas or maybe just something that's decorative that goes with your own decor that you want to use year-round or seasonally. But a few other tools will be involved, which I'll show you in a moment. But here's what we'll be making. These are cute little fabric ornaments, and there's different ways you can make them. I'll be showing some options as I talk about materials that you'll need and how I put this together. But this is a Christmas themed one using red and ivory and a bright green fabric motif. I also made one for my daughter that just kind of matches her quilt I made with the Glam Girl fabric. They're real simple to make, and best of all, they're meant to be rustic and handmade, so there's no worry about getting everything perfect on there. It just is part of their charm. So let me show you the materials you'll need to make these, and then I'll show you how to put them together. Here are the materials that you'll need to make an ornament. You'll want an assortment of fabric scraps, so you can have up to 8 different prints. I just put some examples here that could work well. Usually if you have a print that's a little smaller, it will look better, because a larger print you might not be able to tell what it is you're looking at, so I'd go with something that has a smaller print on it. You'll want a 3-inch styrofoam ball, and this one actually was 2.8 inches, it said on the package, but as close to 3 inches as you can get. You'll want a Sharpie or marker or pen, something to write on the ball with, a box cutter or X-Acto knife to slice the lines into the styrofoam ball, and then a pair of fabric scissors, a butter knife or something that's just thin with a blunt edge to poke the fabric into the slices that you make. And then to hang the ornament, I've used the baker's twine or just the regular twine for a more rustic look. You can also hang it with a thin ribbon. I've used the ribbon for just added embellishment as well, so that's another option you might want to have handy. And then to secure the ribbon or however you're going to hang it, there are a few options. So I've used these beaded brads, and so they're decorative on top. They're kind of fabric covered and, you know, have little jewels and pearls. And then the back, they're just like regular brads where there's the 2 flexible metal pieces that you can poke into the styrofoam. I've also used just upholstery tacks that, you know, might have a little design on the head, or you could even use the staple gun staples, and I've used these when I've embellished with ribbon because it kind of hides the staple, but these work nice because they go so deep into the styrofoam and really have a secure hold there. So you can see it just needs to, whatever you pick, needs to be long enough to poke into the styrofoam and just stay put there. But all of these have worked for me in the ornaments that I've made. And then the last thing you're going to want is a template. You can do it on paper, or I've used mine so much that I just got the template plastic, and so I just traced and cut out the shape on the plastic so I can use it over and over again and it stays in good shape. So you can either make one yourself, or you can go to my website, aquiltingtale.com, to my shop, and I have one in there that you can also get. So now that we know the materials we need, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first step is going to be to draw 4 lines that go all the way around the styrofoam and meet up at the same point. And so I just kind of look at the styrofoam ball from a bird's eye view and just kind of estimate where the center point is and maybe draw a little mark there. If you're not exactly on the center, this is a really forgiving, you know, rustic looking ornament, so it's going to look fine. You don't have to, you know, bust out any math tools or anything to figure it out. Just kind of eyeball it and work your way around. So you're just going to try and, I kind of look ahead, not at what I'm drawing exactly, but just as I come around the curve, trying to keep it in the middle of the ball. And then I'll turn it again and again. My eyes are over here. I'm looking here as I'm drawing, just trying to head to the center. And I'll just turn it again. And then when I get close to where I can see my starting point, I just want to watch that carefully and make sure that I end up there. So there's one line. And then we're going to do a perpendicular line. Again, just keeping our eye kind of in the middle as we go. And so I'm about to intersect. And again, I'm trying to go a little at a time. Again, at this point I can see where I started, so I'm just aiming for that spot. Okay, so there's 2 lines, and then I'm going to divide this into eighths now. So I'm just going to go between the 2 lines I've already done, and this time it gets easier because you kind of have a reference point. You're trying to keep it between the 2 lines you've already drawn. So I'm just gonna try and keep it evenly spaced. And then I'll do one more set in the middle. I want to segment this into eighths, so it kind of looks like a peeled orange. So you should have 8 little segments there. And again, if they're not exactly the same width, that's okay. This is still going to look really nice. So that's the first step. Now the next is going to be cutting lines with your box cutter or your X-Acto knife. So this part can be a little messy. You might want to avoid, you know, doing it over your lap or something, but we're going to just cut about, I'd say, a ½ inch or so into the lines. So I'm just going to start by pressing it down at the top, and then I'm going to just lift and just kind of puncture it, making as straight a line as I can, trying to find the line I just cut and then keep going down. Okay, so I'm back at the start, and then I'll just pick a different line and keep going. So to prepare my fabric, I'm just going to take my template and just do a rough cut that goes the length of the template and the width, and then I'll cut it more carefully in a moment, but I just want to get the bulk of the fabric out of the way. And so I have all my pieces now. And so what I'll do is just turn over one piece, put my template on there, and then you can go around with a pencil or a fabric pen. If you're using a paper template, you might just pin it, but you just want to cut around the edge here. Alright, so I'm just holding it down firmly. And then I'll just give it a little spin, line that back up, And the nice thing about this is it doesn't have to be an exact perfect cut, because the bulk of this gets hidden inside the crevices that you've cut into it. So it doesn't have to be perfect. This is quite bigger than, you know, the little I call these like the little orange segments in here, because as you're tucking it in, it might pull from one side or the other. So the template size that I've made here is a good one for just making sure that you have enough, but it's not so bulky that you can't get all the fabric inside your 3-inch ornament. So we'll go ahead and cut that out along the lines that I just drew. Okay. And then I'm just gonna do this 7 more times with the other pieces that I picked. What's really nice about this is you don't have to iron your fabric unless there's a really deep crease in the middle. Maybe you'd want to, but most of this is just going to get tucked into the crevices that you've sliced in. So it's okay if, you know, it's not perfectly pressed. Let's see if I can do this around this way. There we go. All right, so I'm not going to worry that there's a crease right there, because it will get pulled taut and be hidden later on. Alright, I've got my 8 pieces cut and kind of arranged so I don't have, you know, too many colors, like my greens too close together or my bold reds. I wanted to just space them out a bit. So you can start with any of them, but the first thing you're going to do is just kind of center it on one of your segments here. So it's going to overhang on the top and bottom. It's going to seem like a lot of fabric at first, but as you start poking it in, you'll see that it will start shifting and bunching here, and you'll be glad that you have the excess. So I just start at the top and use the flat edge of the butter knife to just push it in there so that you can't see the raw edges of the fabric. And then you'll want to just kind of shift and pull it taut as you go once it's secure in there. But we're just going to keep going. Just do one side and then shift to the other. Poke it down and adjust. And if you see that one end is pulling too far left or right, just pull some over. I just say be careful not to do it too hard, because you can kind of break the styrofoam. You don't want to take a gash out of it. And when you get to the bottom, just keep tucking it in, just kind of push it down with the knife. Try and keep the knife running parallel with the slices that you've cut. Let's see if I can scoot that side over a little bit. I want to make it so the raw edges aren't showing at all. There's one piece. Now I'm going to take the next, and you can see that this next sliver is much smaller than this one. This one is probably wider than it needed to be, but that's okay. This is still going to work, just as long as the fabric can cover both sides. fabric is all tucked in, it's time to put the string on it to hang and attach it with a brad or the staple or the upholstery tack. So I think I'm going to go the staple route with this one to show you how I embellish with a ribbon. But I did want to show you one I made with my daughter's leftover Glam Girl fabric. So this isn't quite a Christmas ornament, but I just thought it would be cute hanging in her room because it matches her new quilt. But I just tied a knot at the end of the twine and stuck the brad, the two metal pieces, into two of the segments here to secure it in place. You can see that it's holding just fine here. So that's one option. Just looks like a little button on top, and that's really cute. But I think I'm gonna do the staple like I said. So I have these refill staples, and all I did was just kind of put my fingernail in between here and it loosened it, and so then you can just pull it off. Alright, so I'm just going to look for a spot at the top where it seems like I can get both of these sharp ends of the staple to go in. So if it doesn't go in smoothly in one spot, you might just rotate it and try another. But I'm just gonna kind of wedge it down in there. There we go, and I feel it poke through, and so I have just a little bit sticking out of the top now. And so next I'm gonna pick some of my twine here, and I think since I have kind of a brighter green, I'm gonna just use the red and white. I think will look nice with this one since I already used the plain brown twine. So I'm just gonna cut, however long I want it to hang, double that. Just do about like that. And then you can loop it underneath the staple. And then I just grab both ends and make a little knot, like so. And then that can even, to hide the knot a little more, just put it toward the bottom where the staple is here. And then I'm going to finish off with a bow. So I think I'll use this ribbon here. It's kind of sheer and has that bright green as well. A little longer than I might need. And I'll just put it under the staple, pull it through, and I'm gonna put my knot back under the staple, get near there, and then just kind of center this. There we go. I'm just matching up my edges here. So I'll start with a knot. Just kind of try and capture that knot with the twine, just to hold it all in place. There we go. And then just make a bow. Make it a little smaller. There we go. And then just to make it a little extra fancy, I might just cut the ends at an angle. There we go. If you're using the staple, you can also, once you have everything tied, push the staple all the way down so you don't see it at all. And there you have it. Easy peasy. Hope you're inspired to try making these for yourself. I know I made them for my daughter's preschool teachers a couple years ago because she had so many, so I included it with their gift and put a little to from tag that we just traced on construction paper with Christmas cookie cutters and just attach those two. So they make great teacher gifts, or if you have an ornament exchange, or you just want to give a gift to someone, pick out fabrics that remind you of them. It's a really cute ornament to grace somebody's tree. So hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like or subscribe to see more crafts and tips like this, and I'll see you next time. Stay cool out there.